What is going on, badasses around the globe? It is BADonny, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Pretty Fly for a Badass Podcast. We are on episode 10 today. How are you doing, everyone? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am definitely having one of those days where it's like so-so, but honestly, it's getting better. So, we have a lot of topics to talk about, but first things all, I want to give a huge shout out to Smith Plays, Pat. Even though it was unprofessional, it helped out my audio a lot. So I don't know if you guys noticed. You probably do, but there's less echo, and that's because of the same thing that Pat did, and I stuck a pillow behind my mic. So thank you so much for that. Hopefully it sounds a lot better for you guys. And yeah, I just have a bunch of topics we're going to be talking about today. First things first, we are going to be talking about the EE4C. Now, I don't know if you guys follow Pat and the others on YouTube, but the EE4C draft has now popped up, so we're going to cover that. I don't know if you guys want to know more in depth. Go and watch Noah J and the other videos, because it's a really dope thing. So I'm going to go and see if I can find the teams for it. So we've got, okay, here it is. So, for Team Full Weeb, which the captain is obviously Mr. TLX5, they're making a return this year, and make sure my audio's on. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, so Team Full Weeb, obviously the leader is Mr. TLX5. They're making a return this year, so that's awesome to see. But his three other teammates that are going to be playing, which is an interesting setup. I'm not too quite sure how this is going to go, but you never know. So, the three other members is Frenzy, which is more of a high round kind of person. In fact, he's gotten plenty of records in zombies, so that's going to be interesting to see. We have Chucky, or I'm Chucky for the win. And honestly, I'm not too quite sure. Chucky doesn't upload as much, so I'm not too quite sure how he is when it comes to playing zombies. It's really hard to say. And then we have Liam for the winter, which Lex and Liam are actually very close. They've actually done a bunch of videos with Azura, but that's something else I want to talk about. But yeah, it's very interesting to see this kind of team. I'm very curious on how they're going to do this year. Now we have Team Buried 2. Now the leader is Mr. Dalek JD. And the other three members is Codename Pizza, Steve, and Johnny J25. We have the Zest Gods, which the captain is the Smith Plays. As you don't know, Zest is a big thing that's been going around his live streams and everything. It's a big key. It's like one of those, what do you call them? Hidden messages or whatever you call them. And then his three members are Avery, MC Sports Hawk, and Lagan. So this is going to be a very interesting one. The next one is Team Whiteboard. Interesting name. We have Rad Austin or Reed with Q Knight Z, 2 Pro for You, and Glitching Queen. And then there's the High guys, which I honestly don't know about this, but the captain is Mr. Waffles. And the three members are JC Backfire, Chopper, and Lonely Mailbox. Now, I will leave a link to all these channels in the description. But I'm very curious about this, because I know why I think I have an idea why Mr. Waffles chose JC. Because a lot of everybody was really confused by it. But if you don't know, I will leave a link also to the video. But I think, if I remember correctly, Milo and JC are actually staying in the same house. So that means they're most likely going to have a really good connection. Which they were talking around through the thing, and they said when it comes to connection is key. So I think that's why he chose JC in the first place. Not only that, but he was also one of the first to complete the Grod Crovey Easter eggs. So, very, very interesting there. But yeah, that's the EE4C roster. So I'm very, very, very curious on how this is going to turn out, because they're really much different from last year. And not to mention there's some new faces. Like, I haven't watched Chopper, Steve, and honestly, there's just a bunch of cool people in here that I'd like to see what their skills are. So, that's a very exciting thing for this coming up. The next thing I wanted to talk about was actually my ketogenic diet. Now, if you don't know, I started this last week, and it's just a very interesting podcast, honestly, because I was going into the depths of the ketogenic diet. Also, I apologize for one thing for bringing this a day late. I wanted to try making these Sunday videos, like Sunday's podcasts, but I had a little instance. I had to go in for I was pretty much gone all day. It was like a 6-hour drive for me. But yeah, it was a very long trip. I didn't really get time to really make this. So this is going to be going up on Monday if my internet doesn't die out on me. So it's going to be a very interesting setup. So yeah, like I was saying, I was talking about in my last podcast, which obviously go check that out, but about basically the ketogenic diet, which is basically a low-carb diet. And things have been going really well for me. I've lost close to about 10 to 15 pounds from this diet, which is amazing. And honestly, all I've been eating for the past couple days, like about a week and a half now, has been eggs for breakfast. I usually make them in many different forms: scrambled eggs, omelets, hard-boiled eggs, that kind of stuff. And then lunch, I would usually have like tea with whey or else salad, because I hear whey is supposed. I was reading, and whey is actually something that helps out. And honestly, burgers for supper. That's pretty much it. Just plain burgers. Put some slices of cheese on there. Put some pickles on there. Have like a tablespoon of mayonnaise. And honestly, it's basically like eating a steak almost, except with a little bit of extra topping, and it's not as thick and as, well, filling, I guess. So it's a very awesome meal. I actually do recommend you guys going and trying out this diet. It's been working really well. But since I've been drinking whey and all that stuff, I decided to not be as, how should I put this, as specific with my diet. So I've been trying to fit in fruits, because normally you're not supposed to be eating like tropical fruits and other things. The only fruits you can eat is a small portion of berries, so like strawberries, or not even grapes, strawberries, blueberries, a bunch of that stuff, and avocados. But I was like, you know what, since I'm also doing some bodybuilding in there too, I decided to kind of not be so picky about it, and I was like, you know what, let's just have these. I don't want to completely, and like, I brought up this term, I'm basically like a slave with privileges. Like, I'm being controlled, well, I wouldn't say controlled, but like, you know, grasped on by this diet. But since I have privileges, I decided that I can fit a small couple things that you're normally not allowed to put in there. So it's a very interesting to throw in, like, a very interesting thing. Also, I wanted to bring this up into this podcast. I was actually looking into this, but I decided to go over. I found this site. It has 50 good questions to ask yourself and others. And I was like, you know what? Let's turn these into topics for our podcast to make things a little bit interesting. I kind of covered all the main stuff I wanted to go into. So I decided to go, and I'm going to honestly start doing some questions. Now, there's obviously some stuff that's a little too personal that I'm not going to be talking about. Like, what are your nicknames? Because technically, my nickname is theoretically BADonny, as you see as my channel. Also, make sure to go and subscribe. It really does help me out. Make sure to hit that notification button so you guys can, so my videos pop up in your news feed or whatever, in your subscription feed. But other than that, yeah. So, I decided to go and cover this first question, which, what books are sitting on your shelf and are begging to read? And honestly, I have this book. Like, also spoilers here, if you haven't read it, I really do recommend reading these books. So basically, I have this book. It's called The Homelanders. Now, it's theoretically not sitting on my shelf. It's actually something I got from the library. But this book's a very interesting thing, because it has about 3 or 4 books in one, but it has a very interesting plot. So basically, the book is about a kid, or well, kid/adult, because he basically goes to sleep a kid, wakes up as an adult, and is being tortured. Kind of like he's basically on the run from a fugitive, like he's basically a fugitive from both a terrorist group and the cops, so basically has nobody to turn to except for his friends and stuff. But then he slowly starts to meet the person who put him under that, learns a bit about himself and what happened in the years or couple months that he missed before he turned 18, and all that stuff happened. And just overall, like, basically learned everything about himself and tries to stop the terrorist group, basically. But it's a really good book, and I really do recommend it. Although it is pretty thick, so it's going to be a little difficult for younger readers, I really do recommend this book if you're about that level at reading. It's definitely going to take you some time, but it's definitely worth it. Now, the next question. Now, how often do you doodle, and what do your doodles look like? I'm going to be completely honest with you. With fidget spinners out of the world, I feel like doodling's not getting as much thing. But usually when it comes down to it, I don't doodle, but I actually draw. Now, I don't know if you guys follow me on my... I don't know if I post any on my Instagram or anything, but I'll leave a link, as always, in the description. But I actually draw from time to time, and I draw a bunch of anime things. Like, honestly, I love anime, so drawing, an amazing thing to do. And honestly, I've drawn a lot of stuff. Like, I've drawn Karibo. If you don't know what Karibo is, it's a monster from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Duel Monsters. I've drawn Mion Sonozaki, which is actually from Higurashi, which is an anime I recommend for you guys. And just a bunch of cool other stuff. So I theoretically don't really doodle, but from time to time, I do draw. I probably haven't drawn a picture in a couple months now, but it's because I've been so busy. But, like, before, I would draw probably a picture every, like, a week or so, maybe, something like that. It'd be really awesome to see. And they just turned out really nicely. I enjoyed them. I was very proud of myself. And, yeah. Just get some water. But, yeah. What do you do if you can't sleep at night? Do you count, cheat, toss, and turn? Try to get up and do something productive? To be honest, when I don't sleep at night, I'm going to be completely honest, this is very unhealthy for your eyes and for your brain. But I tend to just play some, like, Pokemon or just play on my games, pretty much. I usually just try to do it. That's why I'm up to, like, usually 12, 1 o'clock at night. And honestly, it's not the healthiest thing to do, but it's just some nights where it's just, like, I'm too energetic. And it's just, like, I can't make a video right now. If I could, I would. But, you know what, I'll just play some games. So I play, like, Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, that kind of stuff on my spare time. It's a lot of fun to do. Maybe I'll just try hitting some high rounds on zombies when I have the time. Just that kind of stuff. And if I ever do feel it, I might just listen to some music. Because I'm a person that listens to music when they go to sleep. Because it's soothing. Or simply, it's just really good to do. So I do that. And it's just really awesome. I think I'll cover about 5 maybe every podcast. And just to see if I can go with them. Now, this is a question, because I actually have tried recording this, but it just didn't work out for me. But how many days could you last in solitary confinement, and how would you do it? Now, this is a very interesting topic, because Pat and the JFK gamer, Jordan, they talked about this on Pat's podcast, which I believe it was number 53. It's a very interesting podcast. I definitely recommend it to you guys. Go and listen to that podcast, as well as listen to PKA and the Joe Rogan. They're amazing podcasts. Links will be in the description for you guys to go check those out. And yeah, this is a question that they covered. They basically came out with the idea. They were given certain things and they were given points. And basically they had certain things. But they don't give you specific points for this. So that's why I'm kind of like gonna adjust myself. Now, solitary confinement, I feel like it's the idea of being alone on the island and not being able to talk to people. And when I mention talk, I mean, like, more or less just verbal contact with people. So I think you should be allowed to, like, if you have Facebook, message people up and that kind of stuff. Because, I don't know, that might be pushing it a bit into the whole solitary confinement, but I'm not really too quite sure when it comes to that stuff. But overall, if I had to be a place, obviously in solitary confinement, I would have my own personal island with a beach and all that kind of stuff. If money was not an option here. And then basically, how would I do it? It's simply, more or less, just having all my personal needs, the food that I need for my diet, maybe some working out stuff for running, make sure I have about maybe 10 pairs of shoes a month. And when I say solitary confinement, you're still going to have everything you need. Not everything's going to be there and you're going to run out. I'm thinking that people will come in with like a chopper and supply drops. That's why I say roughly about 10 pairs of shoes a month. Because if I'm going to be running, I'm probably going to be running through a lot of pairs of shoes. So, overall, I think that supply drops, so that's why I say, like, 10 pairs of shoes. That's probably exaggerating, but, you know, not too safe. It's not that bad, because you're on an island, so you don't know what's going to be there. And just a house, nice house to live in, electricity, just the basic tools, like water, that kind of stuff, clean water. And just stuff like that. And then as in for, like, furniture and stuff, I obviously want to have a TVs and stuff, have my own PS3, PS4, all that kind of stuff, my own computer. And just all that basic necessities. So even if I was on that deserted island, I could still make videos for you guys. And then, oh, hell, everything. And if I had to say how long would I last, honestly, I think I could last a good maybe 10, 15 years. Because, like, I'm a pretty solitary, like, person as it is. Like, I talk to you guys plenty about, and, like, I rarely talk to people online, like, verbally, other than Noah and a couple of other people. But overall, like, when it comes to being personal, I really just don't talk to many people at all. I'm more of a person that minds their own business and kind of just does his own thing, honestly. I play zombies, I make videos for you guys, I maybe watch some YouTube from then and there. Honestly, it's really hard to say. So, if we had to go on that idea, then definitely, that's definitely something I would recommend. You're probably going to be coming out a better person because you're less dependent on people. You probably come out stronger, more healthier. It just would be an amazing event, like, thing to happen, honestly. But yeah, it's just overall, you know, I think I might go into the sixth one. Let's see. Do you save old greeting cards and letters, or do you throw them away? That is a very interesting question, because it kind of tells you what kind of person you are. If you throw them away, I feel like, in a way, you just don't give as much care to the person. Whereas if you keep them, that means their message meant something to you, and you kind of feel, well, special in a way. Well, oh, theoretically that wasn't 5 topics, because I missed 1 or 2. So yeah, perfect. So this is a perfect 5th topic. So yeah, basically I tend to keep them, honestly, because their messages mean a lot to me. Like, their letters mean a lot to me. Like, still have like letters from my grandparents, which they're still alive, thank the Lord, but simply just, I know they aren't going to be around for long, so I try to cherish as much from them. I cherish all my cards, like my birthday cards that I get, my Christmas cards, just simply because I feel like they have value. I don't know how there's so many people in this world that don't have that, like, that don't believe they have value, or the cards that have value, and they just throw them away. Because in a way that kind of hurts, because the person went out of the way. Maybe the card was specially designed for you, or maybe it's something they made by hand. It's kind of like keeping art from a child. Like, you received that was one of their first drawings, and they put their heart and soul into making that for you. So why exactly would you throw that away? So I tend to just keep that kind of stuff because it means a lot to me. So I can't imagine that many people that do that. Also, I wanted you guys to give me some opinion. I was deciding to maybe whether or not I should do some Yu-Gi-Oh! If you guys want to see Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I said I might have uploaded, I'm still second thinking on that. But if you guys want to see me post Yu-Gi-Oh! Just comment in the comment section, and maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. I don't know, it depends on how popular it is, and if I'm a good enough player for it, to be honest. Because I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, but I still got some tricks up my sleeve. So I love using plenty of decks. Also, if you guys don't know what these decks are, make sure to Google them if you don't know, so you can get a better idea. But if I had to rate my 3 top decks of what I use, I most likely use Zest Gods, Super Heavy Samurais, and I'm starting to get into Dino Myths, honestly, because Dino Myths are starting to get a lot of fun. So, and the funny thing is, they're all machine types, so I don't know. I remember my first deck that I made. It was actually, I spent probably half a year putting it together. And then, like, I'm still working out the kinks to it. Like, it was really good, but there's some cards that I think need to be fixed on the program I use, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. And I'm still trying to decide whether or not, because I'm not too quite sure. But, yeah. Choking on my water right now. But, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. So I went over some pretty interesting things. Because I think I was in a topic when I was first starting yesterday when I tried doing this, but I can't remember what it is. Oh! Very important topic. Yesterday, I was talking about this, which it's the 30th when I'm recording this, because my internet takes forever to upload. But if you guys aren't a big fan of Rick and Morty, I really do recommend, because the 3rd season is coming out, well, it came out yesterday, the 1st episode, so I'm very excited. I'm going to be watching that tonight. But I really do recommend you guys go and check it out and watch the 1st season if you're not, like, if you have never heard of it. It's a really good series. If you're into sciencey stuff, you're going to understand a lot of it. But even if you don't understand the science within it, there's still a lot of jokes that are hilarious. Like, I love them. But one thing I want to point out is that I would recommend for viewers of 12 and over, simply because there's a lot of blood and that kind of stuff. And there's a difference between the uncensored version, but the difference between the uncensored version and then there's a censored version is that the uncensored version still has blood, I believe, and the same as the censored. However, the censored blocks a lot of the swears that are in it. So there is a lot of swearing. I do want to point that out. But it is definitely a good season, like a good series. I've started getting into it, because, like, I haven't gone into, like, any series since, like, The Flash, Arrow, The Walking Dead, And it's just really awesome to have something that I can look forward to. Like, I don't think the next season, like, I want to take a look at this. So, the next season of The Flash comes out. Let's see. 2017 premiere. I think it's like sometime in September. Season 4 of The Flash returns like sometime in September, I think. Let's see. 2017 10/10. Oh, okay, so it comes out on October 10th. So it's still a while yet. And then The Walking Dead, I think it's around roughly the same time. I think it's like November. And it's just, I hate waiting for these things. I don't know when Fear the Walking Dead comes back. I think it's going to be coming starting up soon, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, just overall, there's a lot of seasons that I have to wait for. So it's nice to have a season in between there where you can kind of like keep focused and kind of like, in a way, just keep calm, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just awesome to have. I'm trying to look. Do I want to cover one more thing? I'm trying to think. Okay, yeah, I'm going to cover this question because I feel like, in a way, we have enough time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. And you know what? It wasn't hurt to do them. These were shorter questions, so I'll have to wait. So, basically it says, when making an entrance into a party, do you make a presence known? Do you slip in and look for someone you know? Do you sneak in quietly and find a safe spot to roost? Now, this is a very interesting topic for me because I'm not really a drinker nor a drug user, if you want to put those in the same category. Now, basically, I hate drugs. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not exactly a huge fan of weed, cocaine, meth, whatever floats your boat. But I'm not saying you can not do it. It's just try to stay away from it if you can, because it's a really bad habit to get into. And honestly, even drinking stuff like pop coffee and all that stuff just for energy is a bad habit to get into. That's why I normally don't drink coffee or like energy drinks, just simply because of the fact it's just not good for your health overall. But yeah. Hopping back to this question, basically, I'm the type of person that just rarely goes to parties. Like, I don't ever go. I think I've only gotten to 1 or 2 parties, and I'm like 17 going on 18. And honestly, there's a lot of people that have had a lot of parties. Like, I didn't even go to my grad party, and honestly, that shows you something. But basically, if I did go to a party, I'm on a balance between possibly 2 of those. Like, I do make my presence known. Like, I go and talk to people I know, and just kind of like go around back and forth. But I'm more or less all of these. Like, I look for people I know, but I'm kind of like making my presence known. It's like, hey, everyone, all that kind of stuff, just saying hello. But then there's just, like, the parts of roosting. Like, cause, like, once I get to find a friend, I usually just sit down with them, talk with them for a bit. So it's kind of like a mixture of all those things. Because I'm more of, like, those, like, occasional drinkers, if you know what I mean, where they just sit down and kind of, like, have a drink with somebody and kind of, like, talk casually, you know. So I'm not really much of a drinker, but when I do, that reminds me of that meme where, I want to look that up real fast. Where's that meme? It's like that, but when I do, meme. Where is it? Okay. Who is that? Okay. It's supposedly equals beer or something like that. I'm trying to look. I'm trying to find, what is his name? Yeah, Dos Equos. It's like, basically... But when I do, it's just like has a bunch of things. Like I'll go over a couple of these. Like I might be able to make them pop up on screen, but it's like I don't always do commercials. But when I do, they get turned into memes. And like I don't have a cheat day, but when I do, I eat for myself and half of Africa. So there's just a lot of these. But when I do, and basically when I drink, I basically go and I'm more of a casual kind of person, you know. So I kind of like doing that. But overall, that's kind of how I react within a party, just because of the fact that I'm not a heavy drinker. Like, I know a lot of drunks, and honestly, it kind of hurts me to see them like that, but there's nothing I can do to change it. So, yeah, that's overall how I react when it comes to drinking. So, I can't really say much when it comes to that. But yeah, honestly, next thing coming into, there was some memes. There's just a lot of new memes lately, and I just don't understand them, so I don't really want to go deep into that. Like, there's cracking a cold one at the boy. Like, let's just look these up. So, new memes. Let's just see. Let's just take a look into this. There's just a crap ton, broken down by month. So there's Salt Bay, which was January. Lamb sauce, all that stuff. Just like the Trump executive order and just a bunch of that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, let's just see anything up to date. Oh, the trash dub was one of the most annoying things ever. I don't just why. So let's see. Oh yeah, it's like where they cut out all the T's or something. It's just something I don't understand. Like a sheep protect and all that. Just a bunch of different stuff, and I just don't understand. So, you know what? I don't know. So yeah, basically, I think that's all we have to say for this podcast. Yeah, that's podcast episode 10. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, as well as to make sure and subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell notification so you can pop up in your sub feed when I upload a video, as well as to make sure and go on to check out all of the links in the description that I mentioned throughout this podcast. Make sure to comment what you guys think. Other than that, I hope you guys all enjoy. Check all my friends out, and I will talk to you later. Asada.